presentation focuses on the pyramids of Giza that were built during the Old Pyramid. We will discuss how they were built, who they were built for, and the process of mummification in which the pharaohs were preserved within these tombs. How exactly the pyramids were built is still a widely debated topic today. Some theories include that they were put there by aliens, the Illuminati probably had something to do with it, or the Egyptians created their own cement blocks. However, the most realistic theory is that the Egyptians used quarried stone from several locations and transported the blocks to the site of the pyramid. The outer casing of the pyramid was made from highly polished limestone, but most of this has been eroded. The majority of the pyramid was made from granite. In this map of ancient Egypt, the Giza pyramids are located there. The limestone was quarried from there in modern-day Cairo, and the rest was transported 500 miles away in Aswan. As for how they moved the rock, most historians believe they were pulled across logs by cattle, and the logs were rotated. However, this ancient wall art depicts the Egyptians transporting the statue pulled by men. And here you can see an Egyptian pouring water into the sand in order to give some buoyancy under the sled. Then they moved the rocks up ramps, but these are just theoretical drawings because nobody really knows what they looked like. Those once believed that the pharaohs enslaved their citizens and forced them to build it, but with the discovery of cemeteries near the biggest pyramid, we now know that the builders served their pharaoh willingly and were even paid for their work.
The pyramids of Giza were built under 3 generations of pharaohs. The biggest pyramid of them all was built after the rule of Khufu, being the second leader of the 4th dynasty of the Old Kingdom. His full name was Khufu. His reputation was not the best. He has been described as an often cruel and heartless leader. Apart from the negative aspects, Khufu had a great talent for organizing and mobilizing workers. The second pyramid was built after Khufu's son, Khafre. For what it lacked in height, it made up for intricacy. There were many statues built in different forms. They all represented Khafre's divinity. In comparison to Khufu's project, Khafre seemed to put more emphasis on himself as godly ruler. Both were depicted as cruel, Khafre following the footsteps of his father. The third and smallest pyramid was built by the pharaoh Menkaure. In comparison to Khafre's pyramid, Menkaure's was only 1/10 of the size. Unfortunately for this ruler, work on the project was abandoned due to Menkaure's untimely death just 4 months into the building process. However, his son completed the rest of the pyramid using mud brick. Unlike Khufu and Khafre, Menkaure was different, far kinder. He ruled with justice, gave more freedom and privileges to his high officials. Menkaure even opened up his palace to children, which they were educated and raised alongside his very own children. Menkaure inspired loyalty by giving gifts to his own people. Giving gifts to his own people.
That's right, that was really fast.
Okay. Ancient Egyptians believed that the preservation of souls was very important, and in order for one to live in the afterlife, they had to preserve the body and the soul. And because that was necessary, they had to search for an artificial way to prevent the decay of deceased bodies. Embalmers began by removing the heart, and then they would stuff the body with bags of natron until the body would dehydrate. The embalmers would then drench them with wine or even cover them in a gold resin and wrap them up and cover them with amulets. They were then put into what is called a sarcophagus. It's a pharaoh's tomb, and then they would place them into the tomb. Once the mummy was in the tomb, the pharaoh would surround them with burning incense as they performed rituals to turn them into a god once they reached the afterlife. Pharaohs are typically buried with extravagant gifts known as burial goods. They included things like copper tools, pottery, combs, food, all necessary for the afterlife. And even cats were buried with the owners after they were mummified. Kind of gross. During the Old Kingdom, many of the mummies were buried in this awkward kind of fetal position rather than flat on their backs. And they usually had big, extravagant places for their burial pits.